This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Chapter 1 of Prompt Engineering. Get 10x more from AI. Introduction to Prompt Engineering. In this chapter, you'll learn: define prompt engineering and its significance in AI. Let's dive in. Your next promotion, your next product idea, even your next research breakthrough might not come from working harder, but from asking a single sentence in a smarter way. Today, we step into the strange world where tiny changes in wording unlock wildly different results. Most people treat AI tools like a smarter search box. Type a question, hope for the best, copy-paste the least wrong answer. Prompt engineering is what happens when you stop treating the model as a vending machine and start treating it as a collaborator you can train, without ever touching the underlying code. This is where tiny textual levers quietly move massive outcomes. Higher accuracy on tough problems, fewer made-up facts, outputs that match your voice, and guardrails you actually trust. In this series, we'll treat prompts as a practical technology in their own right, something you can design, debug, and systematically improve. We'll look at how top teams write prompts that turn generic models into math tutors, legal assistants, and research partners. Then break those techniques down into concrete patterns you can test in your own work. In this episode, we'll zoom in on prompts as a kind of interface protocol between your mind and the model. Instead of asking, "What can this AI do?" we'll ask, "What can I make it do consistently?" That shift turns vague requests into designed interactions. You specify roles, goals, constraints, and examples the way a director blocks a scene for actors. We'll see how small structural tweaks, like separating steps, adding context, or asking for intermediate reasoning, can turn a one-off lucky hit into a repeatable workflow you can rely on under pressure. Here's the first big mental shift. A prompt isn't a single question, it's a tiny system. When researchers added chain-of-thought prompting to the PaLM model, they didn't give it better math knowledge. They changed the interaction pattern. Show your reasoning step by step. Same model, same weights, triple the accuracy on GSM 8K. That's the power of treating prompts as structured protocols instead of casual chat. Concretely, most high-leverage prompts share 4 ingredients. 1. Role. 2. Goal. 3. Constraints. 4. Process. Role tells the model who to be for this task. You are a senior back-end engineer familiar with Python and Postgres invokes very different behavior from you are a creative writing assistant. Under the hood, both run on the same model. The role steers which parts of its training it brings to the surface. Goal answers what success looks like. Vague goals, help with my code, invite vague answers. Specific goals, reduce response time of this API by 30% without changing external behavior. Let the model search a narrower, more relevant space of possibilities. Constraints define the boundaries: length limits, tone, audience, legal or ethical rules, forbidden tools or assumptions. Anthropic's constitutional AI is essentially a giant constraint prompt, a list of principles that quietly shapes every response away from disallowed content while preserving usefulness. Process is where real gains often hide. Instead of asking for a final answer, you specify how to get there. For example, first, restate the problem in your own words. Then list 3 to 5 possible approaches. Evaluate pros and cons. Finally, pick one and execute it in detail. That's conceptually similar to chain-of-thought prompting, but framed for general problem-solving rather than math proofs. You're not just asking for an outcome, you're scaffolding the model's internal workflow. Think of it as directing a high-level basketball play. You're not dictating every dribble, but you are calling the formation, who screens whom, and where the shot should come from. The model fills in the micro moves. The prompt defines the macro pattern. Over time, these structures turn into reusable templates, analysis prompts,
brainstorming prompts, debugging prompts. In later episodes, we'll dissect these patterns, show how teams at places like GitHub and Anthropic actually write them, and, crucially, how to tell whether a new tweak is genuinely improving your system or just making the output sound more confident. Watch how this plays out in real work.
A startup founder drafting investor emails might create two versions of the same message. One where the model plays the role of a skeptical VC, another where it's a communications coach. Same topic, different roles and goals, and you get radically different feedback. Strategic objections from one, sharper phrasing from the other. A lawyer preparing a complex brief can paste in a messy case summary, then set constraints like audience, non-lawyer client, max 400 words. No legal advice, just explanation. The model stops trying to sound like a courtroom script and instead becomes a translator. Developers using GitHub Copilot often discover that a short file header note, "This module handles billing edge cases, be conservative about retries," quietly steers every suggestion. You're not just asking for better code, you're defining the lane the AI should stay in. Your prompts become small, editable control panels. Change a single dial, role, goal, constraint, or process, and you're effectively rewiring the interaction. As models plug into tools, browsers, and company data, these tiny systems start to behave more like configurable teammates than chat boxes. The levers you set, role, goal, constraints, process, won't just affect wording. They'll decide which APIs get called, which records are touched, which users see what. Like composing a jazz combo, you'll orchestrate multiple AIs, each with a focus part, into one coherent performance. Treat each new task as a mini-lab. Tweak role, goal, constraints, or process, then compare runs like A/B tests. Over time, you'll collect a personal library of plays you trust, the way a chef builds signature dishes or a filmmaker refines favorite shots. Your challenge this week: pick one recurring task and create 3 distinct prompt plays for it. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!